Good evening everyone and welcome to today's daily update. I'm Sonia Michaels, Head of Business Travel and Events at Advantage, and today I'm going to be introducing some of our business travel members to you. We asked them to share with us their views on what they believe the value of the TMC is going to look like in the short, mid and long term as we start to think about how we move from the current position and start planning our response and recovery to this COVID-19 crisis. So I'd like to say a really big thank you to these members, not only for their contribution to the videos, but also for their valuable input, along with a number of other members who are part of our TMC strategy group. This group's been meeting on a regular basis over the past few weeks, and our conversations have predominantly centred around challenges with airline policies, refunds and BSP. It's really helped us at Central Office concentrate our priorities as we, along with many of our industry colleagues and other associations, have been working to challenge the airlines and in discussions with IATA on how we overcome some of these major issues. And whilst we've seen some success in the past week, all of this work is going to continue. So I'd now like to hand you over to the members to share with you their views on what they believe the value of the TMC will look like.
I'm extremely optimistic about TMC's ability to bounce back from the pandemic. I am convinced that we're going to be very successful once we align with our entire supply chain and our customers. In the short term, it's going to be all about demand management and how we as TMCs help our clients to potentially develop a temporary COVID-19 travel policy and help them navigate how our partners, such as airlines, hotels, and car hire companies, have shaped their own businesses in view of social distancing and whatever is permissible by local governments. But in the mid to long term, I think TMCs will have to be even more consultative than ever and really make sure that we are part and parcel of each and every client's business and crisis management planning.
So you asked us to have a think about what we thought was, how we thought the industry would change, and how really more so what a TMC could do on the back of this. I think from my perspective, now we're kind of getting into the place of perhaps some sort of normality around all of this. We're getting used to not having any bookings coming in at the moment after the shock of it initially happening. I think thoughts turn to kind of what we've been saying all along. We're in a high risk situation in the industry at the moment. The entire industry, 95% of the industry earns money from travel bookings. So when travel doesn't work and travel stops, the entire industry is in the situation that it's in right now. And that would be okay if it was just a transactional based relationship, but it's not. And the airlines still require staffing, so they still require money, they still need to look after, they still need to fly. And the expectation is they will fly, but with no real revenue stream at the moment. Travel agencies, obviously TMCs like ourselves, we're busy. We may furlough most of our team, but the team that we've got left, we're having to do our refunds and process cancellations and all that kind of thing. There's a cost to running a business which is a cost outside of the travel transaction. It's something I've been talking about for quite some time. And I just hope that perhaps, as awful as this has been, and it has been, and I know that there's going to be some real damage at the other side of this, I hope that we can now come together in a more united form as part of the industry and as TMC show what we can do, show what we can deliver to try and get the UK economy back onto track with travelling. We've got the data there, we can support business, and I think it's our chance to be a little bit more open about all of it. I've talked about my triangle of trust forever. For me, if we're going to rebuild trust in our industry, then that is exactly what needs to happen. We need to sit at a table with our clients, with the airline suppliers, with the hotel suppliers, with ourselves, and we need to put a route to recovery back together. And TMCs are just so well positioned to do this. That's why I see it as our opportunity. But I'm just conscious of the fact that it's good to potentially think like that. The situation is going to end, and I think we do need to be positive. But right now as well, we're all really feeling it, and the industry's got to change. It has to change as a result of this. There's no two ways about it. And I do believe that TMCs are in a position to really show what we can do and really show how we can help people. And I think that's the positive that could come out of something as awful as this.
Right now, in the short term, Our role as a TMC, of course, remains what it always has been, guiding, supporting and advising our clients during this incredibly challenging time, whilst also, of course, keeping the safety and well-being of our own staff, our taxsters in our case, safe and well too. This is a great opportunity to get even closer to your TMC and really realise the value of that partnership and prepare for the return of travel. At TAG, we've always taken a consultative, high-touch concierge approach to everything we do, and this is where the relationships between ourselves and our clients really prove most valuable. A TMC will be there for you however big or small your requirements are, and will be raring to go as soon as things come back, which they will with a bang. The mid to long-term relationship of any client TMC partnership for me should be that your TMC works as a complete extension of your team. Working closely right now, I imagine, with your HR, risk and security teams to ensure that you're putting thorough plans in place for how you may want your travel to be managed and your travellers to be looked after when things do return. It's all about ensuring that traveller confidence and well-being is at the forefront of everyone's minds. It has to be a true partnership with your TMC, not just a transactional one.
Hello, my name is James Beagrie of Meon Valley Travel, and I'm privileged to have been asked the question as to what's the role of the TMC, short, medium and long term, and what's going to change. Initially, through recovery, the questions are not that dissimilar, funnily enough. It comes in three elements, the first one being value, security, choice, flexibility that is lent by TMC, and the comfort of knowing that all options have been explored and there isn't a better route either financially or physically. Secondly, the TMC is the sector expert, so that's not going to change. The TMC is the best predictor of future behaviour and events. You need that on your team. Thirdly, the protection is where it's going to become all the more crucial and critical. When it hits the fan, it's proven already now over the last few weeks that you need a professional in your corner, making the right decisions, saving time, saving money, assisting those right decisions to be well informed, and then tracking everything as we go along. There's a lot of people that have been exposed that haven't had that support around them, and our hours have extended from 9 to 5:30 Monday to Friday with then an out of hours to a full 24/7 operation. So we know there's a call for it. The medium term, I think we're going to see pressure being on cost and value. So the availability of the airlines, for example, will be directly attributable in its release to demand, and this will mean be at full price. Those airlines are being bailed out at the moment. They're being loaned the money, not gifted it. So they will be wanting to maximise their yields and realise full value in order to be able to pay that money back. That's going to need a professional buyer to make sure that the costs attributable also to social spacing on aircraft, in hotels, in airports, car hire, also is monitored, measured, quantified, predicted, and the surprises taken out of the decisions. Private transfers rather than trains, private aircraft sometimes rather than public aircraft. Do you want to be breathing the same air as everybody else initially? Plastic screens on aircraft between aircraft seats are being discussed. Air conditioning is no protection, so from that point of view it's something that's going to be explored in greater detail. So do you want to be on a train or in a taxi? Is that taxi deep cleaned, or do you take a private car? Interesting questions where there are going to need to be further extensions to the reach of value that needs to be qualified, quantified and proven. So comfort, hygiene, advice and guidance on this ever-changing landscape for those new elements of compliance that become greater weighting in the concern. And in the medium term, of course, destinations and departure points and airports, you don't want to be traveling. Those will be constantly changing. So you don't want to be landing at an ultimate destination, having transited somewhere that requires you then to be quarantined for 14 days before you can get on with your meeting or your service. The long term, there's going to be 1,000,001 questions and 1,000,001 choices on this newly shifted landscape, with each territory around the world all being different and all behaving differently, and all at different times and stages of recovery. So long term, it's proven now that there's the need, all the more so, for a professional buyer who is performance related on your behalf. And on that path, therefore, it's relevant, timely, and proven invaluable. The levers are different, therefore, but the questions are still the same. How to best save money, how to best protect your people, and how to prove that you've made all the right choices. For that, there's the need for a professional buyer on your behalf who is performance related. That's where a TMC's value is at its greatest. So long term, it's most definitely going to be something where those professionals in your camp, on your side, protecting you, protecting your balance sheet, and protecting your people is going to be crucial. Thank you for the privilege of answering these questions, and most of all, right now, stay safe.